Hi, Erin here. I wanted to talk about just some of the difficulties I'm having as an entrepreneur. The past few weeks have been difficult. I've met with a couple of people who have told me that consulting is basically a pipe dream in my local region. I've also taken some silly entrepreneur quiz that told me I really wasn't meant to be an entrepreneur, and I could have told the quiz that before I took it because I never actually thought about being an entrepreneur. That kind of just happened by surprise, and I've been learning as I go. I also had another setback just yesterday, and that one really, really threw me for a loop. And it's that one that's made me upset and made me actually think about giving up on Factotum LLC. And that's something really strange for me to even ponder. I'm not a quitter. I never have been. And I actually have two reasons I'm not going to give up right now. One is all these wonderful, wonderful people I've met through social media. They've been banding around me and offering critiques and advice and just saying, call me, here's my phone number, or email me, and we'll talk about business strategy, and I'm here to help you and just to listen. And it's those people that really make social media what it's supposed to be. It's about the relationships and making friends and just finding people who will support you through the good times and the bad. And the second reason is that, like I said, I'm not a quitter. I never have been. And I was trying to think of a really good example because I have a lot of them, but probably the most interesting one is martial arts. I decided to start training in martial arts when I was in grad school. I needed something to do that wasn't work or school related, and I wanted to make friends. And I had always wanted to train in martial arts, and so I decided to go investigate this group that was affiliated with Texas State, and that's kind of how I got into martial arts. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into because I didn't actually know what Japanese jiu-jitsu was or what it entailed. And I'm sure it's different from sensei to sensei, but with mine, he had a very holistic approach to Japanese jiu-jitsu, which means that I was learning about swords and knives and sticks and punching and sparring and throwing and falling and grappling. And grappling was actually one of my favorite things, I think, because I spent more time with that because I would go to class after my night grad school classes. And so I would always arrive on time for the grappling classes. And so I started getting better at that. And I started to focus on that because I wanted to be a good grappler. I've never been very good at athletic things. I just usually get better. I'm never, the person who gets called off the bench to go play with the basketball team or anything like that. I always got to sit on the sidelines and cheer for my teammates. But with martial arts, I was actually fairly decent at martial arts. I started to really focus on my training, and the two ways I did that was focusing on the techniques of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu because it's a lot of physics and just understanding how the body works and how to use the body against itself. So I spent a lot of time with that, and I actually have my notebook here with me, which has some very detailed notes. I don't know if you can see them, but this notebook is almost completely full from 2 years of training, and it has little diagrams and things to help me remember, this is where you need to put your knee if you want to do this, and if you put it here, well, your opponent's going to take you out, basically. And so there's that. I also have a couple of other things. I have my boken. My brother got this for me. I have an awesome brother. Actually, I have two awesome brothers, but just one of them got me the boken because I had started working with this. And this one's actually really neat because it's made out of wood, but it actually has I don't remember the Japanese word for it, but it has like the little scabbard thing, so I can actually practice taking it in and out, which is a huge deal when you're wearing hakama and having to take out your sword and things like that. I also started focusing on other parts of my training, which was endurance training. My sensei said that we all needed to start running. And I was like, I don't want to run. I don't like running. I don't want to do this. But I started running because I decided, you know what? I want to take out those guys in the grappling class. I do. So I'm going to focus on the techniques and I'm going to focus on the endurance. And I got better. And I started to be able to take out those big guys, the guys who were pumping iron at the gym, because I could outlast them. And I started figuring out, if I just do this little teeny tiny move with the wrist or whatever, I have them. I can put them in a lock, or I can choke them, which was actually my personal favorite because it's a lot easier to choke somebody than to try to lock their arm. And I was always freaking out that I was going to break something. And I was like, you know what? It's better if they just kind of go unconscious maybe than break their wrist or their ankle. I don't want to be responsible for that. So I spent 2 years doing that, and I did eventually have to quit, but that was like the last viable option. I was really, really upset about having to quit. But before I did quit, I made it all the way to my orange belt. And in that particular system, that's a lot of work, because it's not, show me your kata and pay so much money and you get your new belt. That was not the way getting a new belt worked. You had to be able to prove that you knew everything you had been learning. So you would get onto the mat and the sensei or the higher up students would ask you to demonstrate a particular move. They would ask you to do some sort of roll or a fall, or they would ask you to do a throw, and then you would have to do grappling or sparring, just everything. It was all encompassing. And that was insane, but it was awesome because you finished that test and you knew all that stuff, and you were surprised because it was like, oh, I didn't know I remembered all that crazy stuff. I didn't know I knew how to do all that. And that's something I can look back on and say, you know what? It doesn't matter how hard it is. I can work harder, and I can put in the effort. I'm completely willing to put in the effort and to learn what I need to do and to take the critiques and listen to people who know more than I do in order to make my business better and in order to make me better as a person, and I guess maybe to make me a person people can come to when they're having trouble, and to know that I'll be there to encourage them and to offer advice if they need advice, or maybe just a listening ear. So those are the two main reasons that I won't be giving up on Factotum LLC, at least not today. Tomorrow's a new day and we'll see what happens, but for today I am going to continue fighting and figuring out what I need to do next to make my business grow and take it to the next step. And I hope you'll join me on this journey, and maybe this will help you to continue fighting with whatever you're facing today too.